Of more analysis, we're joined from Beirut by Mohammad Marandi, a political scientist from Tehran University. You heard there Romney calling Iran the most destabilizing nation in the world. What's your response?
Well, I think most Iranians, if they bother to watch, which I doubt they would smile, because the United States, after all, invaded Iraq, invaded Afghanistan, NATO bombed Libya, destroyed the country's infrastructure. The siege of Gaza continues today with American and European support. When the Iranians supported reforms and peaceful reforms in Syria, the United States tried to wreck the Annan plan by continuing helping military support for the rebels to prevent any form of meaningful ceasefire to stop the bloodshed. I mean, the United States uses drones to kill thousands of people, including its own citizens. I don't think the United States is a country that really can complain much about Iran.
Okay, nevertheless, there is a prospect that Romney will be getting into the White House by the end of the year, severely hardening his stance towards Iran. Is Tehran not slightly concerned about that?
No, I don't think so. I think Iranians see both Obama and Romney as very similar to one another. The rhetoric or the tone may be different at times, but remember, it's Obama who's been carrying out drone strikes and killing thousands of people in different countries in disregard of international law. Any male who's an adult who is killed would be considered an enemy combatant, even if he's just a passerby. This is the U.S. president. So when the current U.S. president
there is no doubt, though, really, that we are hearing a much more hawkish stance from Romney. He's suggesting that he'll drop all the policy of engagement, that he would certainly give America's backing to an Israeli strike against Iran. These aren't things that we're hearing from Obama.
Obama is basically declaring war on the Iranian people. The embargo and the sanctions that the United States and the Europeans have imposed upon Iran are basically there to destroy the Iranian economy. They want to prevent Iran from even being able to import wheat and rice or to import medicine. So their aim is to destroy people's lives and for people to die. There's no real difference between a hot war and the sort of war that the United States is currently carrying out against Iran. Of course, the sanctions have not worked, and the Iranians continue to move forward in the political arena and the economic arena. It does cause hardship, but most Iranians blame the United States and its Western powers for such inhuman policies, just as Pakistanis blame the United States for the killing of innocent people through drones. It doesn't help the United States to carry out such policies against ordinary people.
Yes, those sanctions are in place, but there is also a forum existing enabling both sides to work towards an outcome that would allow those sanctions to be dropped. And yet those negotiations are going nowhere at the moment. I mean, there's doubt even over whether high-level talks will resume. I mean, that's certainly Tehran making it easier, isn't it, for Romney and Israel to take this much harder stance against Iran?
Well, the Iranians have been talking. The Iranians are basically saying that we are willing to negotiate. But the Western position is you give up everything and then we'll start talking. The Iranian right to enriching uranium is a right that all sovereign countries have. And the Iranian Revolution itself was partially about dignity and independence. The Iranians are not going to accept being a second-rate country. This is not the Saudi regime or the Jordanian regime. This is a country that is fiercely independent. So the Iranians will continue to enrich uranium within the framework of the NPT and international law, and the United States cannot stop Iran from doing so.
Okay.
If the United States was reasonable and rational, and the Europeans were rational, then the Iranians would be willing to give further insurances to ease tensions. But the United States really isn't after that in the eyes of Iranians.
Okay, Mohammad Marandi, thanks very much for joining us there from Beirut.
Thank you for having me.